In the heart of New Orleans, there exists a place where the walls whisper secrets and darkness reigns supreme. Yes, the Lalaurie Mansion, a place where secrets were buried deeper than the Mississippi River, and screams echoed through the night like haunting lullabies. Can love turn to darkness? What terrible things happened in Madame Lalaurie's mansion that made her go crazy? Let's delve into this deeper. If you've read anything about the ghosts and hauntings in New Orleans, there's no doubt that you've heard about the Lalaurie Mansion. It is one of the most popular stops on the New Orleans ghost tours. Sometimes people in the city won't even call it that, choosing to refer to 11 to 40 Royal Street as the haunted house instead. Before we delve into the ghosts and hauntings, let's begin by discussing who Madame Lalaurie was. There was a woman named Marie Delphine McCarty, or you can say Madame Lalaurie, who became known as the cruel mistress of the haunted house. She was born on March 19, 1787. But what's her three times charms? On June 11, 1800, Delphine McCarty entered into her first marriage with Don Ramon de Lopes de Angulo, a distinguished Spanish officer. But tragedy struck when Don Ramon passed away during a journey to Spain, leaving Delphine and their newborn daughter, Mary Borgia Delphine Lopes y Angulo de la Candelaria, to return to New Orleans alone. Quite a big name. Seeking comfort, she found love again with Jean Blanc, a man of many titles. Together, they built a life and a family. Then she gave birth to 4 more children. However, fate had a cruel twist in store for them. Blanc passed away, which made Delphine a widow again. Then here comes what we are seeking for. It was Delphine's third and final marriage that would thrust her into the depths of controversy. In 1825, she wed Leonard Louis Nicolas Lalaurie, a French physician. One of her daughters from her second marriage had some deformities along her spine and was subsequently ill. Hired to cure the girl, Louis Lalaurie used all sorts of medical equipment that looked quite painful. Delphine's daughter's illness led her to seek the unconventional medical treatments of Louis Lalaurie, who became infatuated with Delphine despite their significant age difference. Losing her husband reportedly drove Delphine mad. As the years passed, disturbing rumors circulated about her treatment of her slaves. The tragic death of a young slave named Leah in the mansion's courtyard in 1833 raised eyebrows and intensified inspection. An investigation resulted, leading to the freedom of Delphine's slaves, but one by one, she cunningly bought them back, hiding her sinister secrets from prying eyes. Exactly like a sinister woman. The once quiet halls of 11 to 40 Royal Street would soon bear witness to a night that would carve itself into the history of horror forever. Is the Lalaurie Mansion truly a portal to another world, where the boundaries between reality and nightmares blur? Can you imagine the horror that unfolded within those walls? 2 unfortunate workers miserably chose to jump from the mansion's roof, rather than face Madame Lalaurie's brutality. It was only the rumor but whispers of her cruelty echoed through the city. Some said she was like a siren. But from 1834, the rumor became the harsh reality. The beautiful mansion was exposed to fire, exposing the depths of Delphine's sinfulness. As volunteers rushed to the scene, they encountered a harrowing sight. A black cook, chained to the stove, revealed that she had set the fire deliberately, seeking an end to her torment. Upon entering one of the apartments, they were met with an extremely horrifying event. This incident was reported by the New Orleans Bee, a French-language newspaper, on April 11, 1834, the day after the fire. 7 slaves, more or less horribly injured, were seen suspended by the neck, with their limbs apparently stretched and torn from one end to the other. They had been confined by her for several months, and had been merely kept in existence to prolong their suffering. Then the nearly helpless were carried to the Cabildo, where they received medical treatment, food, and drink. Nearly 2,000 townspeople came to view the victims. Shocked by the wretched sight before them, the people began gathering at the Lalaurie Mansion in the expectation that the sheriff would arrest Delphine. But their hopes slowly turned into an intense desire for revenge. Unfortunately, the sheriff never arrived. When Madame Lalaurie managed to escape the conflict, the enraged crowd made the majestic mansion lay in ruins, almost entirely destroyed. It was also revealed that a slave woman, chained to a stove as punishment, had deliberately started the fire. She sought to expose the terrifying conditions suffered by her and her fellow slaves. Because of the revelation of Delphine's cruelty, her reputation was forever corroded by the horrors discovered within the mansion's walls, earning her infamous titles like Demon in Human Form and Fury Unleashed from Hell. But her brutality doesn't end here. Prepare to get goosebumps as you never imagined what else happened behind those walls. In the Sunday magazine section of the New Orleans Times-Picayune by Meigs Frost, he wrote how the slaves being experimented on and the deformation, the sheer horror that met the authorities as they uncovered the first slave. Her bones were broken, not once, not twice, but numerous times. She was set in weird positions, leaving her limbs twisted and bent, her very movements mirroring that of a crab. The air grows heavy as we wonder what madness could drive a person to inflict such cruelty. Another captive's soul suffered an unimaginable fate. A hole cruelly drilled into his skull, with a wooden spoon sticking out oddly from it. It was as though someone had attempted to stir the very essence of his being. Even more strangest, it was said that yet another unfortunate slave had their skin peeled back, revealing the raw tissue and muscle beneath. Such a sight would surely haunt the dreams of any who witnessed it, and there were those who faced unbearable pain, their intestines ripped from their bodies and dreadfully wrapped around their naked waists. Others, coated in honey and swarmed by relentless black ants, lived through unspeakable torture. It was said that some of these tortured souls were eventually found lifeless, their suffering finally ended. But what twisted definition of luck allowed death to be seen as escape? After that, the mansion was in ruins and seemed like nobody cared about it, just a sad reminder of its past appearances. However, destiny had something different in mind. Like a cursed artifact, the Lalaurie Mansion refused to be possessed by any who dared to claim it. One after another, its owners met unfortunate fates. Madness, comas, and financial ruin plagued their lives, leaving the mansion steeped in a creeping aura. Even Hollywood couldn't escape the mansion's haunting grip. The legendary actor, Nicolas Cage, who briefly owned the house for $3.45 million. After his purchase in 2009, bankruptcy struck and his career ruined. Then later the property was listed for auction as a result of foreclosure. Little did he know that the mansion's sinister past would soon consume him. As the mansion passed from one owner to another, whispers of paranormal encounters began to echo through its walls. People started to hear tortured screams, smell burning flesh, and heard chains dragging. Some even claimed to have seen ghosts, like a chained black man. And then there was the white woman with eyes that pierced through the darkness, believed to be none other than Madame Lalaurie herself. Further, when the mansion was converted to school, young girls were scratched and bruised by a ghostly woman. But not all spirits were violent. Some were friendly and even playful. A medium suggested that the mansion's evil had faded, allowing the ghosts to roam freely without fear. No resident has lasted more than 5 years. The curse of the mansion seems undeniable. Now, a new owner, Michael Whalen, has taken residence in the mansion since 2010 and moved in 2013. To wrap things up on Madame Lalaurie's haunting tale, one thing becomes abundantly clear: that the line between love and madness can blur in the most sinister of ways. Let me leave you to ponder. Will the Lalaurie Mansion's curse claim yet another victim in the form of its current owner? Comment your thoughts below.